Hey everybody, it's Tracy. Happy International Scrapbook Day. I hope that you're having fun doing some online challenges, and I'm here with a challenge for all of our listeners. I hope that you've listened to this week's show and heard Christy Berger from Paper Hideaway talking about her new tool for scrapbooking, which is called a memory map. And we just love this idea. I've just printed my own copy. It's 8 pages. This is my first time printing it, so I went ahead and printed it just on standard, like I didn't use presentation paper or photo paper or anything. This is just white cardstock on standard printing quality. I'm going to fill it in, and then I might print it out as a better copy because I actually want to put this in a scrapbook and kind of keep adding to it. So next week's show, Tiffany and I are going to talk about filling this in ourselves, but I just thought I would pop on here and show you how to get started with this. So if you'll go to our bonus content for April, that link is in the beginning of the show, you will find a link to download your own copy of a memory map. You have to sign up for her newsletter, and she will send you a link immediately to your email so that you can download this entire thing. And then she gives you instructions on how to fill it out yourself. So this is not just making a chronological list. This is getting to the core of who you are as a person and what your most important stories are. I love this so much. So, as I said in the show, you kind of have to make the list of your life to get to your stories. So I'm just going to sit here with you for just a minute and ask myself, what are some of the most important stories that stand out in my entire life? Okay, so one of the most important stories that stands out to me is my father passed away. Now, what I'm going to do is write these down, and they're not actually going to be in chronological order because I'm just brainstorming. But the first thing I think about is when I was 22, my father passed away. So I'm going to go with that this is 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, etc. So when I was 22, I'm going to put Daddy died. No, nothing like starting off with a sad one. And then, let's see here. I remember going to kindergarten at Beach Elementary when I was 5. So, and I think I may have only gone there half of a year. I don't have very many memories of that. Okay. And then let's think of something different. How about when I moved into the house that I live in now? It was 95, so that was right here. I was 25. And, you know, it might be helpful for you to write like 1970 through 1979, that kind of thing. Okay, so I was 25 when I built my house. Now, my parents built 7 houses, so I probably will put, you know, something about those houses as well. Let's see. How old was I when I met Tiffany? I was 31, so that's going to go over into here. And meeting Tiffany changed the trajectory of my life, obviously. So I'm going to write here, met Tiffany. Okay, and then in 2007, so this is, it's easy for me to remember because I was born on an even number. So when I was 30, it was exactly 2000. And then this is through 2009. So 2007, oh, okay. You can't do it that way, though, now that I look at this. This is 15 spaces, and then after that, you're going to pick out core memories. The instructions on here, I don't want to give the whole thing away because you need to listen to the show or go to Christy's download. But basically, this is giving you 15 spaces. Okay, let's see here. 2007, I got my pacemaker. So I'm just going to put it second. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I had Caroline when I was 30. That's a little more important. let's see here. Okay, I am 56 now, so this would be 2020 to 2029. And let's see, I'm going to list, I worked for an interior designer. I worked at J. Crew. I worked at a florist. And then at my current job, let's see, when I was, okay, so see, I feel stumped. So I'm going to look back. For each decade, ask yourself, who were the people most important to me? What do I remember about certain seasons or times of the day? Why are these memories significant to me? What did I like or dislike? What were my interests, activities, and hobbies? What did I learn? Where did I live? What places did I visit, near and far? That's a good one. Okay. What places did I visit? But I want this to be my core memories, so it's not going to be just some little trip I took. But let's see. I went to New England. I'm going to put New England trip because that was a huge thing in my life. In 2005, I went to Vegas for the first time for CHA. And that's when I worked at Scrap It. I'm finding it easier to put the years. That's how I'm remembering things. In 2015, which I am going to write as 15 down here, I started going to Christchurch, which is really had a big influence on me. Oh, my podcast in 14 started. Scrap Gals. Let's see here. That's when I met all of you. Who were the people most important to me? Okay, that makes me think of the people I worked for at the Salvation Army, which would be right here. I'm going to put Lamar plus Salvation Army. Those were my jobs. And you know, when you think about your jobs, that makes you think about all the people in your life that you met because of your jobs. Okay, when I was 15, I worked at Dairy Queen. That was my very first job. And then when I was 12, I started East Nashville Christian School. So that would be over here. Before that, it was Watauga. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I met Mike in this was 1980 through 1989. And I met Mike in 1987. I'm pretty sure. He says 88. I say 87. In this decade, I met some of my besties, Kendra and Stephanie. Kendra, Joey, and Stephanie. Let's see. I met Karen, who is my current person that I hang around more than anybody, and then Jenny. Let's see, this is 90 through 2000. Oh, I know an important one is that I started scrapbooking in 2001. Okay, so obviously I don't need 60 through 89, but I'm going to hold on to that and keep it with the memory map so I don't have to do it again. Now, this is where you write your memories shared after you make a layout about some of these things so you don't do it again. Memories I plan to make, future memories shared. I'm not ready to do that yet, but I'm going to before our show next week. And I will have a lot to say about this process then. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is make myself some questions because I want to put some things on here that I want to ask my mother about. That's going to be part of this process for me this week before we take next week's show. So I want to find out the houses I lived in, churches we went to, because a lot of my life revolves around relationships I made through churches. And I went to 2 different schools very briefly, like 6 months. I would leave my school and go to another one 6 months because of something that was going on. Let's see here. Oh, I know one thing that's horrible that I want to put down is I had RSV and Mike had COVID at the same time. And it was one of the hardest things we've ever been through. And that's like a turning point in my life for when I got healthy. So then also I want to put lost 100 pounds. Got healthy. Okay, let's see. When did I do piano lessons? That might be interesting to put on there. And this isn't about Caroline, so I think when you do this, you're going to think my life is boring because when you write it down. Oh, I know. I already have a timeline, but it's for our entire family. So I'm going to check the timeline, and I want to do a memory map for each person. Now, I want to see what it's like when you cut it apart. So I'm going to cut mine apart. Because I want to just pop mine in like a Citrus Twist album or something like that. So I'm going to go in between. Ooh, I'll cut part of it off. Now, if this were something I was going to save, I would figure out where I need. This is just my draft copy. But when I do it for Rails, I'll have to figure out how to cut it so that each piece is even. Okay. Yeah, I like this better. Okay. Okay, so I think this is easier for me because I can just focus on one decade at a time. So let me think here. I think when I was 2, we moved away from the house, my first house I lived in. So I'm going to put moved from next door. I lived next door to my grandmother. Next door to grandmama. To... where did we move to? Mason Lane. We had 2 houses on Mason Lane. 2 houses my parents built. Okay. Now, I'm not going to put down like who I dated or anything like that because that's irrelevant. But when was my first car? I guess that was 1986. Yeah, it was. Okay, so 1986. Let's see. Started driving. And I actually have a picture of me in that car. And then I bought my first car when I was 18. I bought a Chevy. What was it called? I worked for a Chevrolet dealership. Wait a minute, that's not true. I worked for Bob Frensley Chrysler Plymouth, but they had a Chevrolet dealership. Okay, let's see here. And that's something I could put on here. Worked at Bob Frensley. And then from there, I worked at Bunton Advertising in 1990. So that would go here. Bunton, well, it was Bunton PR, but it was owned by Bunton Advertising. Bunton PR job. And then from there, I went to Lamar. Oh, I put that already here. Okay. Let's see. And then I also, at night, I worked at Raleigh Mitsubishi. And I also worked at Bob Frensley Subaru. I was a worker. Okay, I worked at Kmart in 1986. It's 17. I think you got to get going on this because now I'm remembering things. This is hilarious, but I want to put on here when I found out about Martha Stewart. When was that? That was probably, it was before we built our house. It was right around 1993. Yeah, right here. Martha Stewart obsession began because I have such a story about Martha Stewart. I need to document that. I watched her every day, and I recorded her show on the VHS, what's it called? VCR. Okay, let's see here. See, I keep thinking of things about Mike, like his current job. His current job has changed my life somewhat because he goes somewhere every day during the day, and that's only been since last summer. So for the last year, Mike has gone somewhere during the day, and I'm here by myself even on the days I'm off from work. I used to only just be by myself at night mainly. If I was off, he was off sometimes. Okay, so maybe I will put Mike job and then more time alone. And I've actually been more productive. That's awful to say, but when there's no distractions, I'm more productive. Okay, and then like I see my friends more. I'm just in a really good schedule right now. And then, so I think what I'm probably going to do is each time I write something over here, I'm going to write what the year was. I want to narrow it down even further. So I think when I print it for myself, I might take this part out. I can save it as an image and put it into Microsoft Word and take this stuff out. I need that little section. Oh, when did I start hand lettering? It would have been in this decade. No, it wouldn't have. No, that's... Jen Scow came to my house. It was right around then that I started hand lettering. That was when we were doing cruises, which was before 20. So it doesn't matter when exactly. It's just in this decade. Okay. I want to put teaching on cruises, which COVID ruined, but I could do it again if I wanted to, but now I'm lazy. Started hand lettering. I'm trying to think of the things that my life actually revolves around that I do every day or I'm interested in. Oh, well, even though this is not me, I feel like I should put on here Caroline Wedding because it was a huge event in our life and she left me. So that is what I'm going to put. Became an empty nester. This is from 0. So I'm going to write down strawberry shortcake. Mr. Rogers and Sesame Street. This is basically my childhood. The Smurfs. Oh, played with Regina Knoll, which was my next door neighbor. Lived on Bethel Road. Did I? I hope that's true. I think this is also lived on Bethel Road. Lived on, I'm going to put, okay. This era, I hung out with Kendra a lot. I mean, a lot. So I have Kendra stories. Oh, okay. What about when I got my second pacemaker, which was 2017? Yep. So that was probably the worst thing I've ever been through. Well, a lot of what I want to remember is like when I had my events and things. So let me write that down. Retreats, cruises, and then also I guess trips, because some trips are very important, like Disney. The first time we went to Disney, Caroline was 9, so that would have been 2009. Okay. First Disney trip. Well, as sad as it is, I feel like I need to put on here 9/11 because I have a story about where I was. 9/11 story. Getting a root canal. I was getting a root canal, y'all, when that happened. It ended up turning into 12 hours. You probably heard me say that before. Pardon my neighbor mowing. Okay, let's see here. Oh, 2014, I started teaching online. Okay, another thing I want to figure out and write down is when did I teach in-person card classes? So I think it's going to be easier for me to remember things in this decade than older things, and I'm going to have to ask my sister and my mom about some of those. But I definitely want to encourage you to cut it apart because I think just focusing on the one decade makes it easier. Now, you might think differently. You might think seeing it like this will make it easier. But for me, I have to focus on one thing at a time. So I hope that you'll go to our bonus content and print this out. I'm going to keep working on mine. I'm going to fill every part of it in and then get all these questions answered. And then Tiffany and I will talk about this process in next week's show. Okay, have a great International Scrapbook Day, everybody.